Forgiveness is one of the most powerful themes in the Bible. It's a gift that we receive from God and a blessing we are called to extend to others. In today's video, we'll explore 10 of the most important lessons the Bible teaches about forgiveness, revealing how this divine act can transform our lives and relationships. Let's dive into these profound insights that show us the way to peace, healing, and spiritual freedom. Psalm chapter 10,312 offers one of the most comforting assurances in the Bible. God's forgiveness is limitless. When we ask for forgiveness, He removes our sins as far as the east is from the west, meaning they are completely gone, never to be held against us again. This demonstrates the magnitude of God's mercy and grace. Hebrews chapters 1214-15 warns against allowing bitterness to take root in our lives. When we hold on to anger or refuse to forgive, bitterness can grow, affecting not just ourselves but others around us. Bitterness poisons our relationships and clouds our view of the world. Forgiveness is the antidote to bitterness, allowing us to live in peace and harmony with others. In James chapter 516, the Bible connects forgiveness and healing. When we confess our sins and forgive others, it not only brings spiritual healing, but also physical and emotional healing. Holding on to unforgiveness can manifest in various forms of emotional and physical distress. By confessing and forgiving, we allow God to heal us from the inside out, restoring our hearts, minds, and bodies. One of the most powerful moments in the Bible concerning forgiveness occurs while Jesus is on the cross. In the midst of his suffering, he looks down at those who are crucifying him and says, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." Luke chapter 2334. This moment exemplifies the ultimate act of forgiveness. Even in his pain, Jesus chose to forgive those who were responsible for his death. This sets a profound example for us. If Jesus could forgive such an immense wrong, we are called to forgive others no matter the circumstance. In Colossians chapter 313, Paul writes that forgiveness is a reflection of the love and grace of God. When we forgive, we are showing that we understand the depth of the forgiveness we have received. Forgiveness is not something that happens once. It is a continual process that reflects the unconditional love of God. It requires patience, kindness, and a willingness to let go of past wrongs for the sake of peace. In the parable of the unforgiving servant, Jesus tells the story of a servant who is forgiven an enormous debt by his master, but refuses to forgive a small debt owed to him by another servant. The master, upon hearing this, revokes his forgiveness and punishes the unforgiving servant. This parable highlights the absurdity of receiving such incredible grace and mercy from God, but being unwilling to extend that same grace to others. It underscores that forgiveness is not only something we receive, but also something we must give freely. Matthew chapters 614-15 gives a sobering warning if we refuse to forgive others. God will not forgive us. This shows the seriousness of harboring unforgiveness. Holding on to resentment and grudges can create spiritual barriers between us and God. Unforgiveness traps us in cycles of bitterness and pain, preventing us from experiencing the fullness of life God has intended for us. When we forgive, we unlock the doors to healing, not just for our relationships but for ourselves. In Matthew chapter 612, forgiveness is deeply embedded in the Lord's Prayer, where Jesus teaches his followers to ask for God's forgiveness while committing to forgive others. This simple but profound request aligns our hearts with God's will. It reminds us that forgiveness is not a one-way street. If we expect to receive mercy, we must also extend it. Forgiveness in this context is more than an action, it's a lifestyle. It is recognizing our shared humanity, acknowledging that we all fall short, and seeking to live in peace and harmony with others. Ephesians chapter 432 calls believers to forgive others as God has forgiven them. This is a key principle in Christianity, where the act of forgiving others is seen as a reflection of God's love for us. Just as God shows compassion and wipes away our wrongs, we are called to extend that same mercy to others. This form of forgiveness isn't just a moral obligation, it's an expression of the transformative power of God's love. When we forgive, we experience a release from anger, bitterness, and resentment, freeing us to live in peace. The Bible offers a profound message of hope in 1 John chapter 19, where it states that God's forgiveness is available to anyone who seeks it. No matter who we are, what we've done, or how far we've strayed, God's grace is abundant and available to all who come to Him with a repentant heart. This verse emphasizes that God's forgiveness is not dependent on our ability to earn it, but rather on His nature. He is faithful and just. When we confess our sins, we are acknowledging our mistakes before God, opening the door for His cleansing power to restore us to righteousness. The message here is that God doesn't hold grudges. He is eager to forgive and bring us back into a relationship with Him. Forgiveness is not just a command, it's a path to healing and a reflection of God's love for us. By embracing the power of forgiveness, we can experience the peace and joy that come from letting go of past hurts and living in harmony with others. Thank you for watching, and if this video inspired you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share to spread the message of forgiveness far and wide.